Today, K-pop's known as the most trendy, most popular music coming from Asia, but it wasn't always that way. Throughout much of the 90s and 2000s, C-pop or Cantonese pop was first popular, then J-pop took the reins during the late 90s and 2000s. But a popular, interesting shift happened during the end of 2008 and 2009. During 2008 and 2009, a new challenger emerged from Asia, namely Korea and K-pop. And K-pop would soon take the mantle of Asia's popular trendy music from J-pop. But how did K-pop overtake J-pop in global popularity? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Now, for the record, this video isn't a K-pop versus Japan bashing video. I actually love both K-pop and J-pop. I lived in Korea for 7.5 years, and I lived in Japan as a teenager for 7 years. I definitely respect both countries, and I just love both countries' music. And one other thing, while this title does say, how did K-pop overtake J-pop in global popularity, which is true, most people do know K-pop more than J-pop these days, it's not necessarily the case about Japanese culture as a whole or J-pop sales, which are both a lot stronger in the world than K-pop. So with those disclaimers out of the way, let's take a look at how K-pop overtook J-pop in global popularity. So the first reason is Japan didn't really care. Japan really has this FUBU attitude. And if you guys know the clothing brand FUBU, it stands for us, by us. And that's the same attitude that Japan has with its Japanese pop culture. During the 90s and 2000s, Japan made anime, J-pop, J-dramas, J-TV shows, and so on. And if you guys wanted to enjoy those products, you had to import them from Japan or visit Japan. Japan didn't really have subtitles for much of its music or anime until later. Japanese pop culture was for Japanese people. And if you wanted to like them, you had to adapt to Japanese culture. You had to adapt to the Japanese standards. Japan wasn't going to kowtow to Western or US standards on how to make their entertainment. So when Japan started seeing that Korea was starting to get big with the Hallyu wave in the 2000s, and especially when it ramped up in the late 2000s, Japan just batted an eye and said, all right, that's cool. You do your thing, Korea. And Japan continued to cater to their home market, which served them well since they're very profitable still, and J-pop's still the second largest music market in the world. So in the end, Japan didn't put any of a fight when Korea started to dominate with their K-pop and K-pop started trending around the world. The number two reason is that the otaku image is considered weird. And what I mean by that is when you listen to anime music or when you listen to J-pop, it doesn't really have that Western flavor or Western feel to it. And this includes popular current J-pop acts such as Kpop. And I know Kpop has a strong niche following outside of Japan. For the majority of non-J-pop fans, her music might be a little too out there and not conform to mainstream or Western music, which is what most people are used to. And also with the otaku image, although yeah, there are a lot of anime fans that are proud to be otakus and that they'll wear it on their sleeve and they'll go to all the anime conventions, a lot of other anime fans don't want to have that negative connotation of people judging them just because they watch anime. And that also spills into J-pop because J-pop and anime definitely have that connection where some of the songs sound similar and has that anime Japanese feel. But a lot of these fans don't want to deal with the negative backlash because some Westerners aren't used to that type of music. The next reason is that Japan has strict copyright music laws. Oh boy, do I know this from working with Japanese companies. Basically, Japanese music labels are very strict with their music videos, and where it goes to. And if you go to YouTube and look up J-pop videos, a lot of Japanese companies either won't have them on YouTube or show like a short 40 to 50 second clip of a music video. Why? Because they actually still sell the music videos in CD albums to the public. And this is where Japanese music labels, as well as the groups, still make a lot of money through physical sales of both the CD as well as the music video. In addition, J-pop and Japanese music is incredibly hard to find on Western services such as Spotify or iTunes. And yes, while there is some Japanese music on iTunes, the vast majority of the songs are either outdated or anime OST tracks, not the current popular trending songs in Japan today. And again, it has to do because of Japanese copyright music laws and permission. Not having Japanese music available to people outside of Japan only stunted the growth of J-pop even further. Conversely, the next reason is that the Korean government was fully pushing for the Hallyu wave. Over the years, the Korean government has been pushing millions upon millions of dollars into promoting K-pop because Korea knows that with K-pop brings Korean tourism to the country, and with tourism makes more money, and it puts Korea more on the global map. You'll see government agencies sometimes use K-pop idols or K-drama stars to promote certain aspects of Korean culture or the country itself. Contrast this with Japan, where they might use a J-pop idol here or there. The Japanese government uses a variety of Japanese pop culture, such as Pikachu, Mario, or Hello Kitty, in addition to J-pop celebrities.
The next one, K-pop dance and choreography. Now, while J-pop has some excellent choreography in their own right, groups that are Johnnies, which are basically male idol talent, as well as groups such as EXILE and their sister group E-Girls, have awesome choreography. But for the most part, K-pop idols are expected to dance and dance very well. K-pop choreography and dance really represents Korea's image to pop. It's a flashy presentation of music that a lot of people that are not familiar with K-pop can readily get into. And for that, I would actually say that K-pop dance and choreography is just as important, if not a little more, than the actual singing itself. K-pop choreography has actually given K-pop a lot of iconic moments. If you just take the late 2000s, we can already find some iconic dances within that time period. From Super Junior's Sorry Sorry, Girls' Generation's G, Girls' Generation's Tell Me Your Wish, and Brown Eyed Girls' Abracadabra, those dances alone were so iconic, it drew in a new slew of fans into K-pop. Not to mention, there's a lot of Westerners that do dance groups that actually cover their favorite idols' choreography, as well as flash mobs breaking out all over the world. This just shows that choreography played an important part in K-pop's growth to the world.
The next reason is YouTube. YouTube is one of the biggest reasons why K-pop exploded in the mid to late 2000s. And to give you an example, back when I was in university in the 2000s and I got really interested into K-dramas and K-pop, I just couldn't go online and find K-pop videos. I literally had to import tapes and later CDs from Korea to the US to watch the latest hits. In fact, a lot of my Korean American friends when I was going to university also didn't know really what K-pop was. Why? Because there was no easy access to it. You had to really just go to Korea to get the latest news on Korean idols or dramas. But with the advent of YouTube, as well as K-pop companies embracing YouTube instead of pretty much shunning it like Japan has, K-pop had exposure to the entire world. This was further helped when YouTube started supporting 720 HD as well as 1080i and 1080p HD videos. So when music videos such as Girls' Generation's G or Girls' Generation's Tell Me Your Wish / Genie came out in 2009, the world can watch for themselves the latest hits and K-pop acts from Korea. And I'll even go as far as saying, without YouTube, I don't think the Hallyu wave would have fully kicked off. Just because again, K-pop wasn't really known and K-pop was lagging behind J-pop as well as Japanese pop culture that's been prevalent for decades, whereas K-pop and K-dramas were just getting their foothold in the late 90s and 2000s. But because of YouTube, it made K-pop's growth exponentially faster. The next reason is that K-pop is very Western oriented, where J-pop is more, well, very Japanese. And that's not a bad thing. Like I said earlier, I love J-pop. But when it comes to Western audiences, and especially globally, people do like that Western hook, that Western feel, and that Western vibe and influence. And that comes from American music because American music has been so dominant in the world for ages and people are just used to that. So when K-pop producers adopted that Western influence and pretty much put Korean lyrics with a Western vibe to it, a lot of people in the world can relate to it. K-pop today and Korean music in general has successfully integrated such things such as popular music, folk, hip-hop, and more. The next one is K-pop went with a very handsome / sexy image. If you look at a lot of the K-pop music videos, you have a lot of idols that are just truly handsome or very beautiful. And this is no mistake, as the K-pop labels have a lot of managers and CEOs that studied in the US or in the West. And they noticed that for their music to be noticed, they have to have an appeal right away, that they have to hook the Western audiences to appealing faces and an image. Thus, the concept of very handsome or sexy idols. Contrast this to J-pop, where you have the more cutesy look, the more girl next door look, or more boy bandish look, and it doesn't really appeal to as many Westerners. Starting in around 2007, maybe 2008-ish, I felt the Hallyu wave was just bursting to explode. You had superstar Rain starting to be interviewed on the Stephen Colbert Show and getting on Time Magazine's most influential 100 people in the world, as well as popular groups such as the Wonder Girls and Big Bang, who were both visually appealing, had catchy songs, and definitely had that it factor in K-pop. K-pop definitely rode that Hallyu wave into 2009 when further groups such as Kara, Super Junior, Girls' Generation, and Brown Eyed Girls exploded K-pop to new heights. So while K-pop's overtaking J-pop in terms of global popularity, when it comes to sales, profit, and annual growth, that's a different story, and perhaps I'll talk about the J-pop industry more in a separate video. But for now, it's safe to say that K-pop is the new trending music of Asia in the 2010s, and maybe for the foreseeable future. My personal take on J-pop being FUBU, for us, by us, and staying within Japan, I can't really blame Japan if they continue to be profitable and still stay as the second largest music market in the world, but I would have loved J-pop to also ride the wave when they were popular in the early to mid 2000s. I mean, you had Japanese artists such as Ayumi Hamasaki, Utada Hikaru, Koda Kumi, Naomi Amuro, and Exile that could have tried to appeal to Western audiences or try to get a niche foothold in the West. I felt that because Japan didn't really try, they missed their opportunity for J-pop to get more of an influential foothold in the world. So what do you guys think about how K-pop overtook J-pop globally in popularity? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? What was your journey into K-pop or J-pop? I'd love to know your comments in the comments below. And if you guys want my free ebook on K-pop journalism and what it was like to work in Seoul, please sign up for my email list below and grab that free ebook. And with that being said, I'm off to watch another Korean music video, but I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.